Hi, I'm Coach MK, founder of the Fitness Protection Program. I'm a run coach, not a life coach. We're never really talking about the running. Running is the tool. It's the conduit we use to examine the world we live in, as well as its impact on our own lives and the lives of the people around us. How we react to certain people and to certain stories tells us a lot about how we view ourselves. I'm committed to the thoughtful, intentional exploration of the importance of running so that no one discounts their own badassery, ever. Final note, this podcast is geared towards every runner who won't lose their home, livelihood, or health insurance if they show up to the corral with a hangover. Not that I'm encouraging you to do that, just saying. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Fitness Protection Podcast.
It's time to get started with a nice, easy warm-up. If you haven't been doing your silly toes, anytime is the perfect time to start.
Before we get started tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about the news this week. So if you guys remember the 80s, it was kind of awesome. Track and field was like the best game ever. It's the best one that Nintendo ever released. It's one I remember playing in an arcade. Since then, the visibility of track and field has waned just a little bit over time. So unless you have a direct connection to track or for some reason pay attention to the 1500, which is a little bit shorter than the mile, and most of my clients are not former triathletes, so they don't, you can be excused for not having heard of Mary Cain before Thursday and turning pro before graduating high school. And she did graduate high school. That was when she joined the Oregon Project with Nike under the guise of Alberto Salazar and proceeded to steadily decline performance-wise for the next 3 years before she disappeared completely. In May, she resurfaced in Citius magazine explaining the injuries that stalled her pro career and discussed the psychological toll all those expectations tied to her talent took on her psyche. And then this past Thursday, we got the rest of the story. Thank God we're not elite. I say that a lot, and I mean it. As a coach, there are a couple of things that I'm known for. One is the 140 cap on easy effort runs, and no one likes that very much. And that I say that we're never really talking about the running. And a lot of people don't like that very much. I'm a run coach, not a life coach, but we are really not talking about the running. To be absolutely clear, though, I am not an athlete. I am a hobby jogger who started this second career of mine in a gym chain as a run coach. Fun, right? I coach hobby joggers. I coach people who don't necessarily identify as athletes, the people who still do this thing, even though they might not have done it in high school, who picked this up later in life. What's less clear is that my clients are not less than. They're the biggest badasses I can possibly think of, and they don't know it. These are people whose hobbies include running for hours, who say, in my spare time, I would like to move without stopping, please. They have no framework to evaluate themselves, no concept of anything other than pace of winning, because that is all they have ever been told. They don't see what they are doing. They don't give themselves credit for what they've done, for what they've accomplished. They only see how they could improve. And if something could be improved upon, then they suck. It is a crappy way to view the world. But that is exactly what high achievers, what overachievers, people with talent, people with promise, have been groomed to do. That drive for better, that drive for perfection, to pick ourselves apart so we can address the flaws before others do, it runs really, really deep. And that conditioning starts when we're young. And it is not limited to athletes. It's everywhere, absolutely everywhere. When I transitioned into virtual coaching, I realized that a lot of my clients had no idea how to talk to me. They had never before been coached by a person who would not make them feel ashamed for missing a workout or 5, because a coach who could understand why that might happen, and a coach that wouldn't see that as being less than committed, a coach that would understand that a life exists outside of this little vacuum of the one hobby that you have on top of all the other things that you do. They've never had a coach who got onto them about gaining weight, didn't care if they did, or made mention of the fact they need to lose weight. My clients are tired, ask about their sleep, and then ask about their iron levels. I ask if they're taking care of themselves. If they're pushing themselves too hard, their concern is that they're not pushing themselves hard enough, that I'm too soft, that I'm too soft in turn on them. I realized really quickly they'd never had a coach speak to them this way before. This is not what development looks like in the United States. This is not what we do with potential. And that is why abuse is so rampant, and so much that is horrifying continues unabated, continues unchecked. We are willing to pay the price of winning. We are willing to sacrifice anything for greatness, because that is all we do. That's all we talk about. We don't hold people accountable, and we don't speak truth to power. And some of these people who are in power are so deeply entrenched, there's nothing we could do anyway. So I tell you that to tell you this. When I say thank God we're not elite, I mean it. When I call myself a hobby jogger, I'm saying I'm absolutely in control of my own destiny. When I say I hope my kids don't have talent of any kind, I'm not wishing them to be less than. I'm wishing them to have a way to escape all the pressures and expectations that this world can put on them. Expectations and pressures that my 7-year-old daughter is already feeling, despite all my efforts to shield her from it. When I think about how cool this is as a hobby, and how important my role is in helping my clients see what I want them to see themselves for who they really are, to give themselves credit for what they do, it makes me a little sad to realize they're only hearing this for the first time, many of them in their mid-40s or older. And it really, really makes me sad. No one is intentionally setting out to hurt other people. That's not how it works. It's one little decision begets another, and then you wake up one day and say, well, my kid was there too. And others are looking at you and saying, why didn't you pull her out? And saying, I didn't know. Nike in their own damn press release pointed out that Mary Cain's father is a physician. How crappy is that? I tell you that to tell you this. When I see all the news coming out this weekend, I know my clients are going to feel a way about it. And I know that it's been really hard for a lot of people to process and digest. All my hobby joggers, most of my hobby joggers are parents with children in various stages of recovery or addiction, all of which can be offshoots and pressures that come with a drive for better, a drive for perfection. It's one of the reasons why performance of people at the very top is so difficult. They're willing to do whatever it takes, and are willing to believe that maybe that's weakness leaving their body when things start to get hard, that's when they lean in instead of tapping out. That's when they do more instead of less. So when I think about all of the news and all of the feelings coming at this time, and the egregious abuse of power that occurred, all of the abuses that had to occur to keep the system in place, and remind you that this system is everywhere, and it's not limited to one person, and it's not limited to one situation. And it can be really conflicting. It can be really difficult to get mad and stay mad at the company that sponsored this horror show as much as it does Serena, Megan Rapinoe, and Shalane Flanagan. I said it in the blog post, and I'll say it again. The person I feel most sorry for this week, there are a whole lot of people I pity, but if I had to pick one, it's the person who might lose the momentum and might lose the support and might find that she has no place to go worse sooner than she thinks, and that's Shalane Flanagan. You see, decisions don't happen at the table. She does not have a seat at the table. She is fully funded by a company that put out that garbage press release, pointing out to you that Mary Cain's father was a physician and he never complained. And oh, by the way, she tried to come back. That's the same company that's backing Shalane. That's the same company that went after Kara and Adam Goucher. Do you really think they're going to have Shalane's back if she sees something and says something internally? That's a big bet. What if more things happen, not on her watch? Because remember, she's existed independently of Nike Oregon Project for a really long time. If more things happen, who's going to be pulled out in public to talk about them? Are they going to go after the coach? Or is Nike going to send out the first female distance running coach in history who they themselves have funded? Was she really hired to do a job, or was she hired to be a crisis manager in a PR situation that not of her creation and is completely out of her control for a company that continues to either be unaware of the problem, not care about the problem, or send out these garbage press releases? I don't have any answers. All I know is that the people right now who are receiving all the love and all the support are likely to continue receiving all the love and all the support. And I look at someone whose position might be more precarious than she realizes, because no matter how famous she is not wealthier or more powerful or more influential than the company that you have to choose if your kid wants to play high school football, high school soccer, most high school sports, because that's where Nike is so deeply entrenched. You can't really get around them. They are everywhere. They control access to races. Even if Shalane were to quit Nike, she would be excluding herself from the biggest pipeline of funding that is available in the distance running world right now. It's just not that simple. She can't opt out. There aren't many options. So I tell you that to tell you this. If you want to be mad right now, be mad at all kinds of people, be mad at all kinds of things, but direct that anger towards Nike. When you're demanding that Shalane answer for Nike, why did you choose Nike? Why did you stay? That's exactly what Nike wants you to do. When you go after anyone else who is on the team the same time as Mary Cain, you, again, are not going after the problem. The company who sent out that garbage press release that I will not ever stop talking about because that press release was terrible. It wasn't just bad optics. It was terrible. That is the same company that sponsors a lot of the female leaders in sport who we love. But that's what abusers do. That's what abusers look like. They don't show up looking like abusers. They're either your best option, the option you've been dreaming of. They have power and they're not going to hesitate to abuse it. And they're going to make sure you know it. And that if you decide to leave, the door to that thing you want is firmly closed behind you. And there's nothing scarier than that. So when I call them the evil overlords, I mean it. Do not ever forget the evil overlord in this situation is the company who did nothing, the company who knew it was Nike. And please, in the future, if this stuff keeps happening, please don't go after Shalane for it. Even if she's the only Nike person you can in the room, the only Nike person you can get in touch with. We all like to shoot targets we can hit. And she's going to be real low hanging fruit next year if more women come forward. And I'm pretty sure they will. So with that, ready to get started, Coach Sarah?
Oh, yeah. What a rousing intro. No, seriously.
If anyone has anything to say, remember, I'm the one that that started this company. You're like prepared to do serious emotional labor because we're never talking about the running. We're not talking about the running because you are not going to win the marathon. And that should be pressure off your shoulders. Because we're not talking about performance, we don't have to toe the line. We don't have to worry about the runs we miss. We are hobby joggers. Hobby joggers unite. Hell yeah, it's a great place to be. Thank God we're not elite. We don't have any of the same decision matrices that these people do. So enjoy that. Talent doesn't get you in. I mean, talent could get you straight to the best program in the country in the clutches of Nike. What have you really won?
Right. Yeah, seriously. This feels like a really good place to be right now. And MK, I've appreciated reading your perspective in your newsletter this week and hearing all of that just now. I think it's really, really helpful. And even before I was working for you, I really relied on you and trusted you as sort of a person who could kind of help me parse a lot of the things published on the internet in the running world, because a lot of it is terrible. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there is nothing on my Twitter right now but stuff about this. So it's really helpful to have your voice in my head, as always. And I've had a lot of my own thoughts about this. If you read my personal blog, if you got my newsletter this week, this is also something that I'm clearly processing as well. And I have a feeling, yes, you're right. This is just the beginning, and we're going to keep talking about it. And anyone who has big feelings about it, we're always a safe place for that. So
I'm never going to stop talking about, crappy things when I see it. I'm trying harder not to curse in these live streams and make Chrissy's life a little bit easier. I know that people have small children. It's understanding that these desires for better and are you going to do what it takes is exact that type of extreme thinking is what leads to disordered decisions. It's not. This is what we mean when we talk about diet culture. When we talk about eating disorders in a vacuum, it's easy to dismiss Mary Cain. It's like, well, she's mentally ill. She's not stable. And that's what Nike wants you to think based off that press release, that she was not a stable human. She was a champion who had never really had an injury before she showed up in their purview. And all they did was focus on her weight as though like, well, it's simple physics. If you lose weight, you should move faster. And it's like, no, but how you lose the weight matters. You need to be properly fueled. If you can't generate power, then that one less pound, but you don't have the power to move the other pounds that remain, that's bad runner math. And that's not what you expect from people at the top. I mean, you saw what I saw. Like she confirmed there was no team nutritionist there making sure that they were calculating inputs and getting them. They were like she was having to hide food in her room. Like,
oh my God.
Ridiculous.
That part, yeah, and Kara Gatcher talked about that too. That the story that you told about sneaking energy bars in her room and being afraid that people would hear her opening them. Oh my God, that just that really got to me. That particular anecdote is just oh, it's horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
But the press release, again, I can't, the reason that's such a big deal is that it's proof positive that the change is not forthcoming, that they're just going to try to distract and change the conversation. So, and they also know that, well, they know they'll just go after Shalane. If you remember that nonsense that happened a couple weeks ago with Ernst & Young and that woman's training program that was like, don't make your hair bottle blonde. You need to be presentable to the men in the room. Like it's 1967 or something. And this was an executive training program, by the way. This was for people like me who are upwardly mobile and going to make partner, right? This is not for like, not that that's better, but it's stupider. Like, it's one thing to say this to a 19-year-old who is like excited to have the job and isn't going to complain. It's another thing entirely when you're saying this into a room full of me to one MK, much less like 100 or however many it was. But if like no one at Ernst & Young, which is a huge company, thought that was egregiously stupid. So when it happened, who did they send out to be like, this is not who we are, and blame the media? The most senior woman in the room. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to rise in a company anymore. I was like, I would rather stay home and be a housewife and have babies and go running than try to climb the ladder only to get that as my reward. Because everywhere I look, I'm like, if I'm the best of the best, will I get anything better than the Nike Oregon project led by Salazar in any aspect of my life? And the answer was a resounding no. So I decided to go build it. I'm going to build the table I want to sit at. I'm not going to settle for a kiddie chair checked at the end of the table where I have to perform for the world when crises hit rather than actually drive the conversation before it happens. So that's effectively, Shalane is not in a position of influence or power. She is a PR tool for them who I hope could be an agent of change. I mean, she's working there now and they still put out that press release. And she had to say on Twitter, I would love to meet with the new CEO, which indicates that she hasn't. So again, which is not, I don't want to make this about her, but I feel like there's a lot of pressure on her to lead things in a different direction or to keep us so focused that we're not seeing other things that are happening because there's no way it's just Salazar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. So. I know you don't watch Succession, but this is just like what happened on Succession last season. I'm just saying.
What happened?
You take the woman who is known for, having good politics and you put her out in front of the scandal to smooth it over and make it better, even though you've never actually given her any credibility whatsoever before now.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I didn't want to rise.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
I'm very much viewed as like volatile, right? I'm a wild card. We don't know what she's going to say because I might tell the truth.
Yeah.
I might answer from the heart. I might say the right thing. I might not toe the company line. But that does not guarantee that what I say or what I do say might be wrong or incorrect. You know what I mean? I'm not a puppet. And that's why I was never going to rise. And I looked around and kind of realized that at a young age and had a good ride and then left. And I feel like there are a whole lot of women, like the woman that had to write that Ernst & Young release. I mean, I'm sure she hated it. Like, take one for the team. Why me? Nike has no women in the C-suite, no women in like the top 3 levels, like none. It is a dude heavy culture and a terribly toxic one from the inside out. And we hear this from multiple places. This is not just like limited to sports. This is through like all the way throughout the company. So knowing that, Shalane might be the most visible senior female they have. So when I think about how angry I got, and I even put this out on Facebook, how angry and disgusted I was at Ernst & Young's garbage response to that training program and how they made a woman do it. A friend of mine came in and was like, I feel bad for the woman. I'm like, I don't. She didn't have to say yes. She did not have to say yes. Like, at what point do you have, like we all say, I'm just going to take it for now. And then when I have power, I'll start helping the people behind me. The thing is, that day never comes. We never have it. We are never there when the decisions are made. We are still only brought to the table when the crisis is being managed. Yeah. So I think about how mad I am at her, thinking about like, what kind of flexing are you doing internally to change this for everyone? Because this is terrible. And I'm afraid that I'm going to be stopping myself from having those same comments a year from now about Shalane. I'm going to have to remind myself she has no power. She has no power. She has no power. She's an employee and probably a contract employee with big sponsorships at that she might not be able to get elsewhere. I don't know that she's as valuable on paper outside of the running world. There's no big dollars outside of Nike. So literally, it's not like she can trade this for Hoka. It's not a 1-for-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not to be overly depressed, I just want to say, if you're feeling a lot of feelings, that is valid. If this is triggering for you, that is valid. Your response may not be, make sure the punishment fits the crime and know where you're shooting before what you're shooting at. Take real careful aim before you fire. Especially on Twitter, because like last night I tried to say something nice and I said it to Lindsay Krause instead of Jen A. Miller, and I still can't believe I got those two confused. But they're both women who work for the New York Times. So when I say we're part of the problem, we are all part of the problem in one way or another.
Well, There's a lot. Lindsay Krause's Twitter is super crowded right now, I'm sure. So,
hopefully
she might not have even know. Yeah, hopefully she missed it. That's what, whenever I do a bad tweet, I'm like, yeah, I have like 50 followers. It's cool.
But that's another important distinction too. A lot of people have been going after former members of the Nike Oregon Project, especially people who were there at the same time as Kara Goucher. And when you look at my Instagram, and this is, and I get how it could look grandiose. It says that I'm a public figure. When you look at the private the public Mary Catherine Fleming, not my personal Mary Catherine Brooks Fleming, but my public figure page. That's not me being like, I am a celebrity in the realm of Jennifer Aniston now. Yay, I'm not. And I don't pretend that I am. The difference is that is the contract I have with the public. I am giving up a modicum of my privacy to do what I do, either performing in public. And it's about setting the expectations. When someone shows up on my doorstep that doesn't belong here and really should know where I live, but you're a public figure. Yeah, but I'm not a celebrity. It's part of that, what defines the conversation. I expect to be contacted as a source for the media when discussing certain topics in a very limited guise, right? What I'm saying is I'm not a private citizen.
Yeah.
Most of these people are not public figures. They absolutely are private citizens. So if they don't have a check mark next to their name, if they're not verified, and they are not listed as a public figure, which again looks a little funny and grandiose, but it's necessary. And this is why. Like, you come at me. Don't come at Coach Sarah. She's not a public figure. I'm the public figure. I'm the owner of this company. If you have something to say, you come at me, never at Sarah. If you have something to say to Nike, go to Nike, not the other members of the project, expecting them to say anything, because we don't know what they went through either.
Right.
Just as here, man, if someone says the wrong thing in asking for space and silence, give them grace. Like, this stuff is hard. I mean, Nike had a whole team that sent out a garbage press release. It is fair to shake down Nike. It is fair to shake down every single person who had a hand in putting out that garbage, terrible press release they issued about Mary Cain. It is not okay to go after a private citizen who tried to get dragged into a public conversation against a gigantic behemoth known for being litigious, meaning it sues the shit out of anyone who crosses their path. They don't want to go up against Nike. They don't want to be dragged into the conversation, and no, they don't want to give a statement. And that is their right as a private citizen who might be dealing with more trauma than we can process right now publicly. So I say that to be very gentle, because I've seen some of that action today. And I'm like, just from my people, if you're in my purview, please don't do that. I'd check yourself, check your response, make sure your anger is going where it belongs. But again, if you're angry, that is valid, because Nike is garbage. Yay! But they were never going to give me money anyway. I'm some housewife at home who started her second career in a gym. Yay me! Love being a hobby jogger. Keep looking the other direction.
Warm up is done. Feeling good. Heart rate hovering around 140. Now let's get into the heart of this podcast for the long run.
And now, for all those of you who can't look away, I have once again gone over 10 minutes, and I kind of apologize for that, but not really. Yay, this is what you came for.
I don't want to stop you. Right? Yeah, that's exactly. And this is important. This has been a big week of news. People want to hear about this stuff.
Yep.
I knew we were going to go over 10 minutes. It's fine. But we are going to get going now, because we have hella questions this weekend. Everyone had all the questions.
Bring it.
I was so flattered last week. I was like, oh my God, there are 12 questions in Maintain. People trust me to answer them by myself. And this week there are like twice as many questions. I'm like, oh, I get it. It's cool.
They just wanted to talk to you.
They did want to talk to me, and I had a great time doing it last week. I missed you, but thank God you are here for the onslaught of questions this week. I am going to be firing them at you rapidly.
Let's move. I'm taking that we're going to start with Runner Interrupted. We have three suites of programs in the Fitness Protection Program. We have Runner Interrupted, a program for runners not running to keep them connected, tethered, and focused through periods of not running, making it that much easier once you're ready to start running again later. The times we need to coach them most, the times we are least able to get them. And that's what I was thinking when I designed this program. Second suite of products is Rebuild, a program for experienced runners who are returning to running after a period away for whatever reason. I don't really care. I care about why you stopped running almost as much as I care about your weight, which is to say that I don't, because I don't have to in order to do my job correctly, which is support you. The third suite of programs is Maintain, for anyone who has a modicum of fitness they would like to maintain right now. Thank you to all the new participants we have in our programs joining Maintain, having finished their fall race. I cannot wait to start with every single one of you. With that, Runner Interrupted. Let's go.
Okay, here's my weekly win from Runner Interrupted. I got a really great foot massage at PT this week that has really helped with the pain. Yay, winning.
Love it.
Love PT. PT is the best. And the other submission from Runner Interrupted is a question for you. Coach MK, what was your favorite part of the New York City Marathon?
Feeling, so on my, I have to tell you that to say this. So I tell you the first part of this story is I was in taxi on my way to the airport here in Denver, and they were reading horoscopes, and they predicted pure cosmic sunshine in the middle of Mercury retrograde and Uranus retrograde, which had me laughing out loud because I was like, that. Okay, I don't even know what that is. Well, as soon as I got to the start line, I knew exactly what that was. It was perfect weather. I felt terrific. So my favorite part of the New York City Marathon was standing there in pure cosmic sunshine in Staten Island, feeling strong enough and ready to do this.
That is so cool. Pure cosmic sunshine. That you got to do a mantra about that. You're going
I might have
right?
to.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got to get through the shady bitch lessons first.
Oh, hell yeah, you do.
This is probably the most well received series we've ever done in the Mantra Pod. For those of you listening, I also have a daily micro podcast called The Morning Mantra, microdose of confidence in MK to get you through whatever life throws your way. This week, I'm talking about shady bitch lessons, which is how to gently but firmly bat away all of those nasty little passive aggressive comments that come from family members that you only have to see twice a year. That will be starting up very, very soon. So if there's a particular type of comment that comes your way that you're not ready and would like a little bit of help dealing with, I might have the answer for you. Check out Shady Bitch Lessons in the Morning Mantra podcast this week. And we can also see the transcripts over on the blog.
Yay. They're so good. I've been enjoying them so much.
I think the last one, the one I've got lined up for tomorrow it's up here. Wait. Is it help that isn't helpful? Oh, no, fake cheerleading. Fake cheerleading.
Ooh, I like it. Okay, sounds good. I'm ready for that. I can't wait. Okay, yay. So going into Rebuild, we have 8 questions in Rebuild tonight, which is a record for Rebuild, I believe. Hooray.
Yeah. Love it.
Every month, I set an intention to start running again, and then every month, I miss the first week of the plan and feel like I've missed the boat completely. Yet another example of type A thinking. I know. What is your advice for starting a plan mid-month with not a lot of base level fitness?
Just do it. Honestly, just do whatever you can do. Start where you're at. You don't have to wait. When I say that, what I was thinking when it came to the program design was that I know a lot of people will be like, well, I'm not using this, so I'm going to punish myself and let go of it. And I'm like, wait, but once you've let go, all the tools that would bring you back that's what you've let go of. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to design something that was, easy to join, easy to walk away from, but you would have support if you wanted to stay. One. So in a month but I also say like $30 a month, it's worth having the reset button coming at the first of each month. So it's not like, well, I'm off track. Now I can't do the race and having to walk away. Looking at this on a month to month basis, every month brings at least one opportunity for a fresh start. But truly, every day brings an opportunity for a fresh start. If you've been in Rebuild for a while and you're like, I think my fresh start is going to be make it tomorrow. Go to bed a little bit earlier. Ask yourself, why haven't I been doing this? And address some of those reasons. Because again, all of them are valid. When a client tells me that they don't feel good, that they're a little tired, I'm like, well, are you sleeping? I mean, it's a very basic question. But that's usually the first thing to go when people are stressed or anxious. They're not sleeping enough. They're not eating. When I say they're not eating well, their macronutrient needs might not be met. You might be low in iron. So rather than being like, I suck, let's look at truly what has kind of been getting in the way, move it to the side a little bit and try to make sure that tomorrow morning you just go for 20 minutes. 20 minutes is the shortest amount of time. It's better than nothing. But like at that point, you've kind of physiologically maxed out, like the diminishing returns kicks in, right? So the first 20 minutes are the most powerful of your workout. So if you only do 20 minutes, you've still done a lot. From there, the law of diminishing returns kicks in and you're still getting benefits. Like there's a big difference between 20-minute workout and 60-minute workout for sure. But goes from exponential to logarithmic. It also like the benefits sort of like flatten out a little bit. So if you get those first 20 minutes, then you got the best 20 minutes. Go try to get 20 minutes. Start there.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Next question. I wasn't able to see the week at a glance and started Rebuild. Now I realize that the long run is during the week and that won't work with work. I want to reconfigure the week and I'm not sure how. Long run needs to be Sunday. Should I just start by doing the 1 hour run and not worry about the sessions I missed? So I think I was trying to help this person with this issue earlier this week. So my take is I think you may have just applied the plan to start on the wrong day. When you applied it, you need to apply it to the first day of the month so that it syncs up with, the intended days of the week, because the long run is absolutely supposed to be on the weekend. So you should be able to go into Training Peaks, unapply, reapply. Please hit me up in the Facebook group or by email if you need help doing that. I would be happy to walk you through it. And as for, should I just do the 1 hour run and not worry about the sessions I missed? That is a yes.
Yes.
So,
perfectly said.
Okay. Thank you. Reach out if you need more help than that. Sorry for the trouble. I know that the first time you do it, it can be a little bit wonky. Okay. Next question. I'm running the Atlanta half March 1st, currently in rebuild, but started flirting with maintain this week. Ooh la la. Thinking I'll repeat week 1 all month and keep long runs 60 to 90 minutes. I'm doing this with several friends who are talking about their 12, 16, etc. week training plans. These are people who run regularly and not starting from scratch. So it had me thinking, how should I plan via fitness protection for this half?
I mean, the whole reason I do this is because I feel when you've got an event and then the clock is ticking, that's when we're talking and that's when performance really comes in. Because remember, we're here for fitness. We're here for health. We're here to have the option to go do all the races. If you want to perform, there are options for that. But I am not specifically a performance program and I don't want to be, right? Because that's where the pressure and the need to do everything perfectly comes from, right? And I want to move everyone away from that perfectionist, all or nothing type of thinking that is pumped into overachievers from the day that, we're born. So to that end, I mean, can you do just fine? You could think of this any way you want to. If it helps you to think of this, count over how many weeks there are between now and March the 1st, and you're already so if that's 28 weeks, congratulations, you're on a 28-week training plan. Whoop, whoop. If that helps, great. But right. That sounds like a really long training plan to me. That feels like a lot of pressure. And if you think of it that way, I've been training 28 weeks for this. You're going to demand so much from yourself at the start line that no finish time will ever be worth the 28 weeks it took to get there. That's why when I talk about the New York Marathon, I'm like, I will talk about the 12-week training plan. I'm never going to stop talking about the 3 years it took to come back to baseline health to be ready to run. But realistically, performance-wise, it was never going to be a performance. I had 12 weeks to get ready for it. So at the end of the day, I really don't like this notion of counting down all the weeks or feeling better than, less than, they're going to be more prepared than me. You're already doing the work. The main reason a lot of these plans are written, the reason that I've ever sold a 20-week training plan was that if people said, I'm running a half marathon, they're paying money for it. So what they're going to expect a result. And if I'm coaching them, they expect a result. Well, if your performance is part of what you're calculating my value and whether I've done my job, then I want 20 weeks. I want 28 weeks. I want 40 weeks. But no one's ever going to give that to me. You know what I mean? So that's where it all gets a little skewed. So once we stop thinking about performance and just maintain instead of train, the outcomes really do improve because you're not stressed out about what you missed and really worried about the next one. You're just doing the work and it all adds up really quickly and beautifully. And that's what I want for everyone.
Yep. Totally agree. Similar note, I have convinced my family to do our and my very first race, a 5K trail run in the snowy mountains in March. Any ideas? Yeah, it does sound fun, actually.
Don't die.
Seriously.
That's my idea.
Idea number 1, don't die. Any ideas for training with 2 very fit teenagers, 13 and 16, and a previously fit husband, which would be fun and not lead to too many arguments? Oh boy.
No, also, that doesn't sound complicated.
No, not at all.
The good news is that's going to be less of a mess than the Nike Oregon project. Yay.
Right. I know. I hear 13-year-olds are super non-argumentative. That's what people tell me. Also, do I need to modify my own rebuild training plan to prep? Then that's it.
No. All I would say is okay, you're going to be running in snow in the mountains. Hopefully you're not literally running through snow. But here's the thing about ultras and about trail runs that make me not trust trail runs very much. Oh, it's just a 5K. People who do ultras and who do trail stuff, they say that with one of those evil grins you need to throw your hands in the air and back away from. Come here, little girl. No, don't go anywhere. Don't open that door. Because the shorter the distance on a trail, the harder that is. So I would have a healthy fear of, it's only a 5K trail race. Because that 5K might be the worst 5. It might be dead uphill, climbing stairs. It could start on the Manitou incline. You don't know what that's going to be, but it's probably going to be terrible because if it's only 5K, change your expectations. A road 5K, let's say it takes you 27 minutes. I'd say for a trail 5K, plan for an hour.
Oh, yeah, totally. I've only ever done one trail race, a short distance trail race, and it was gnarly as hell. It took me easily 1.5 to almost 2 times as long as it would have on the road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember showing up somewhere once where everybody thought they were training for a road race and it was actually a trail race, and the panic that ensued. And I'm like, how did you not know this?
In my case, there were no details on the website, and that should have tipped me off. But yeah.
Oh, they did. You were there for their entertainment, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That is the rule of trail running. You were there for the sheer entertainment of the race directors.
Yeah,
and that's it. And that's
so
okay. So what do I recommend? Earplugs, earmuffs, not a gun. Make sure they're not loaded if you're going to carry one. If it's bear season, hopefully they're still hibernating. But in all seriousness, no, I don't think you need to change the training at all. I would try to get familiar with the terrain, especially if you're going to be running through snow, because running on trails is complicated when they're not covered in snow and ice. But beyond that, I mean, just have a backup plan ready to get through the event itself or any of the training runs, just kind of like you do in your household. When I was growing up, it was television in the kitchen from my mom. And when she didn't want to hear anything, she would go in there, turn on the TV and cook really elaborate meals just so she wouldn't have to deal with the nonsense. You're going to need to find your equivalent of that to get through some of these training runs.
Yep. And I think just kind of not like hitting it too hard over the head. If people are curious about, if your family members are curious about what would be beneficial for them, let them see what you're doing. Yep. Hopefully they'll be curious and they'll want to join in, and it should come from them wanting to join in. If you try and make them like into it for your sake, that's probably going to backfire on you.
And remind them, if they start challenging you on stuff, you are not a coach. Send them to me.
That's right. That's right.
I will sort them out. Got your back.
Love this. I can't wait to hear how this goes. I'm excited.
And I'll do a live stream with these people if they give her crap.
Yeah.
You're my client.
Oh my God.
Yes. Purview. I got you.
Amazing. Okay, next question. I'd love to know your thoughts on focusing on cadence in running. 2 physical therapists have encouraged me to try to keep my cadence in the 170 to 180 range to prevent injury. I am injured and just getting back into running from walking and wondering your thoughts. Thanks.
Okay, I have a lot to say about cadence, but I'm also not a physical therapist. And that's really important for me to start there and say, I don't want to contradict what a physical therapist says to you. At the same time, cadence emerged from Jack Daniels taking a look and watching his elites, trying to figure out what they all had in common, trying to back into what makes them better, more efficient, faster, other than VO2 max. What other metric could we look at? Not all data points are equally weighted or equally relevant. And I would argue that one of the least relevant data points next to vertical oscillation, which does tell you something, that's how high your foot goes off the ground each time you strike it. It is an indication of how strong your hips are, but I can tell you that if I just watched you stand. I don't need to like calculate vertical oscillation, how that trends over time to do my job efficiently. And I would argue the same is for cadence. Because once you start training to a number, any number, every 5 others could fall apart. I've watched a lot of people. I use vertical oscillation as an example there. When that came out on Garmin's, I had to speak to that incessantly to everyone who was watching it, because they're like, I'm a data person. And I'm like, I can't make all data points matter. I'm sorry. Like its form is a function of strength, and all these data points just tell me that you could be stronger. That's it. Doesn't mean you're bad. It just means that, like, if we're focusing on the cadence without focusing on the strength, then we're artificially manipulating the way that your body moves. And that does not usually lead anywhere good. So I say this gently, like, not that they're wrong. I just can't speak to it. And I hesitate to be like the medical professional, since you've had 2 of them say the same thing. That is one of those data points that's been given unnecessary weight, that has turned into a bad coaching cue. An easy way to take smaller strides is to run more slowly. So put on the heart rate monitor, go real slow. And that's really what I've tried to get people to do in the first place. It is incredibly difficult to overstride and keep your heart rate under 140.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you're trying to like artificially go for a number, my cadence is somewhere at the fittest I've ever been. I had a foot pod on during part of that time, and it would be tested whenever we did the 1 mile time trials. And my cadence never got over 180, 165. So I don't know that when Dr. Jack Daniels was looking at it, he's like, what do all my athletes have in common? That was something all of his people had in common. And that is something that many elites have in common. But they are also phenomenally stronger than we are. That is not the only difference between us.
Also, how many women do you think he was looking at? I'm asking out of curiosity.
Yeah, that many.
That's my other question. So
women skew the data. Remember, we have hormones.
Yeah. Ugh, damn it. We're not small men. Oh.
I am. But that's the thing, you guys have got a lot of these, there are people that are doing terrific work, but if you don't read the entirety, if you don't ask questions, if you don't look at the methodology, you could be missing really important points like that. Alex Hutchison, thank you for making my job harder for tomorrow. I can't wait to get all the questions about that. Saying endurance runners also need
Oh my God.
I
know, like, I saw that and I was like, God damn it.
I'm moving away like, but coach, we need to do sprints. Like, do you really? So like good science does not necessarily lead to good coaching cues and hobby joggers. Mm-hmm. What they're like, Alex Hutchison is doing wonderful work. He's a terrific human being. I've got nothing but good things to say about him. And I met a lot of dickheads in this industry, for that is for sure. He is not amongst them. So I say this like loving, I say this not to denigrate him or the work that he's doing in that great article that he wrote, but he is very clear about what he means. And I don't think he wrote the lead. That lead, the headline was written to get clicks.
I'm sure he did not. Like, exactly.
Oh, should I be doing this? You know, so it's really easy to take anything and be like, is there a place for sprints, for distance endurance? Yes, there are all kinds of arguments you can make for sprinting and endurance runners. That's why I had y'all do wind sprints in the fitness protection program a couple months ago. How did
we have them this month?
Sarah? Yeah.
No, they did not like that. We have sprints every Wednesday this month. Thank you not very much.
I mean, because they're terrible. It's like, let's do this and then keep going. It makes me feel bad. So is there a place? Yes. And I like all of these elements that are important are definitely thrown in. But like when you say, this is good, this will make me, I need more, whatever that thing you think you need more of is probably not what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
Is there a time and place to worry about sprinting? Yes. Is there a time and place to worry about cadence? Maybe. If your PT says so, I'm not going to contradict them because you paid for that opinion and you got two of them. But there's part of me that goes, Alex Lanton has never spoken to me. I've only, the physical therapist who I work with and have worked with exclusively for the past 6 years, the best I've ever worked with, 7 years. Oh my God. Arguably the best I've ever worked with. He has never watched me run. He has never given me a gait analysis. He has never monitored my stride. He's watched me stand. He's watched me rise out of a chair. He's watched me do all kinds of crazy things. He has never seen me run or evaluated me in the way that people is now common in run stores with people who are not physical therapists. Mm-hmm. So I kind of don't know what to tell you, but your coach, am not convinced that data point matters because I'm not seeing it as a coaching cue lead anywhere good. But if they are telling you something more than that, like how to keep it under without hurting your hips or throwing off like 5 other metrics, great, do whatever they say to do, but ask a lot of questions around that one.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, next question. We got 3 more and read those.
About that on Friday.
Yes, definitely.
By the way, we're going to be bringing on our podcast. Sorry to interrupt you. On this podcast, we're going to be bringing Alex Lanton next week. We're going to put up questions. We're going to put up threads in the Facebook groups this week. If there's a question you would like to throw at a PT like that one, let us know. I'm sure he loves sharing his opinion almost as much as I do and would love to challenge any PT that's giving you bad advice.
We have a quick visit from a friend here.
Hello.
You say hello to MK?
Hello.
Hello. Did your mommy buy you tickets to Frozen 2 yet?
Think so. Did you?
They're not even selling them yet, but
that's not true. Yes,
that we're going to go see it. We've already talked about
it. It's not true, Roz.
Reviews. We're very excited. Did you buy tickets yet, MK?
It's a lie. It's a lie. Of course I did. They're on sale on Fandango, Sarah.
Oh man. Well, now I guess I got to go on Fandango and buy tickets. All right. Well, I'll put that on my list. We'll get our tickets and we'll decide when we're going to go.
Go tell Daddy you need tickets to Frozen.
You want to go tell Daddy you need tickets to Frozen?
Okay. Fandango. Okay. They're on Fandango.
Right, you got to say goodnight, though. We got to get back to our questions. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks, Roz.
Oh my gosh, that was Roz, and now I have to buy her tickets to Frozen 3 weeks in advance. Cool.
Just saying. So I mean, it's a date. Are we going? Yes. Once you figured it out, there's no way you were going to get out of this, Sarah.
Oh, I wasn't trying to get out of it. I just was trying to not quite commit to like a day to go see it yet. I was going to see if we can maybe wait until they kick her out of school for Thanksgiving and then have it be right there in my pocket.
Well, who says you can't? Think about it this way. It's 3 weeks out. That is 3 weeks. If you don't behave, we will not go to Frozen. And once you cash that check, it's gone. What I'm talking about is 3 weeks of bribery and the best effing behavior possible. So look at this as an opportunity.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. No, you're right. You're totally right. I thank you for showing me the way through that. I appreciate that.
I'm happy to help you go Harvard on parenting, Sarah.
Susan says, Sarah, you need to move to Denver so you can make MK take Ross to see Ross and 2. Okay. You know what? Unpopular opinion, I'm excited to see Frozen 2. And like, I just, my favorite parenting podcast, like there were all these parents being like, oh, I can't believe this Frozen movie's coming out. It's going to be so annoying. Like, da da da. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing it. All right.
I gotta say, my insiders at Disney, one of my best friends from grad school is a very senior in the marketing department at Disney. She was head of the princess merchandising program for a really long time.
So she's some good work.
Cards were amazing. Like I'm in the princess department, but she has already seen the finalized cuts of this. Like she saw it months ago and swears it is the best thing they've put out since they started working there.
Well, then
she's like, it will legit blow your mind. I was like, this looks like it's going to be really dark. She's like, no, they're trying to get parents excited. It's deep.
And the older kids probably. They want to get like the 12 and 13-year-olds who liked the first one who like, might think they're too old for it. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, I'm legit. I'm excited to see it. I'm trying to get one of her good friends at school's mom on board with me to like take them on Thursday night when it comes out. We'll see. That might be really crazy of me, but
yeah. Why did you want to do that on opening night?
Well, there's a thing. There's a theater near us that's like never sold out, never crazy crowded. It's not, we never go to like the big theaters in Boston. This one's
that's why I'm like
chill.
Second day matinee.
Second day. Yeah, there you go. Second day.
That's matinee. My rule.
All right. I'll take all this in consideration when I go on frickin' Fandango after this live stream. All right, we got to keep going. We got 3 more questions in Rebuild. This is my completely frivolous question. Does MK's skincare magic include something to combat windburn when running in cold, but not cold enough for a face cover of some kind?
Yes, funny enough, it does. I love that someone asked that. Was that you, Susan? That's amazing. So I have, so 2 things. One, I have sunscreen on, and it's a really thick zinc-based sunscreen that, funny enough, does not have oil in it. And it's from Ulta. ELLAMD. I can put the link up in the show notes later. But also on top of that, underneath that, I have a really thick night cream. So when I have to run, like I did today in the sunlight, first I put on like a really thick cream that is going to sweat off my skin. And then I put sunscreen on top of that. And that's a day with a whole lot of sun and a lot of wind and it's colder, the right conditions for windburn. That's what I do. And I was wearing extra super lotion when I went out to run New York.
I like that. Okay, so we'll put the link up to that. We can put it in the Facebook comments. If you have it, we can put it in the comments tomorrow. And then we'll also put it in the show notes for this episode. Yay. Okay, next question. Is the time required for Maintain markedly different than Lane 2? Mostly wondering about weekdays, not long runs.
For Maintain, no, not very. Maintain is only marginally more than Lane 2. But again, it's not the difference between Lane 2 of week 4 of Rebuild and week 1 of Maintain is minimal. But the difference between week 1 of Maintain and week 4 of Maintain is huge. So I'm less concerned about coming over and doing the first week. But that's why I also tell everyone, do not hesitate to do week 1 over and over and over and over and over again in that first month when you're coming back and when you're moving there from Rebuild.
Yep. And we've had people have success with that kind of taking, and so that's actually going to come up in the Maintain questions one too, as well. Just taking like week 1 of Maintain over and over again. You can do that for as long as you need to, as long as you don't have a race on the calendar. We're good with that. That's awesome. Okay, last Rebuild. I am an interrupted runner right now. I listened to the Slow Burn podcast and I'm so excited by the idea of it. Will the Holiday Strength Challenge offer a taste of the strength for rebuilding or interrupted runners?
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will.
So when it comes to the strength, for the Holiday Strength Challenge is really the defining feature there is it's for charity. It's going to be fun. It's not a huge commitment. But I mean, the more you do, the more you're going to get out of it, quite literally, because we got prizes out the wazoo, including a mini indoor stair mill that's valued at $450. So, and all this is stuff that we're going to be not auctioning off, that we're going to be giving away through prizes and challenges throughout the month. When it comes to the strength that you're actually going to be doing, it will give you a taste, but it'll give you more a taste of like how absurd my brain can get, how true some of the things that the situations that I describe will be, and how, right I've been in determining the strength you're going to need to get through the holidays, because nothing is off the table in the Holiday Strength Challenge. I'm going to be saying everything that's in everyone's minds and bringing out the elephant in the room.
Love it. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. This is going to make everyone's holidays so much better. I am so looking forward to it. You will get so many tastes. delicious, delicious taste. Okay. That is it for rebuild. We are moving over into maintain. And before we get into the questions, we have to give a shout out to Ellen at Indy Monumental because it was cold. And I know, Ellen, you said in the Facebook group that you had a lousy day. Ellen ran the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. I believe that's what it's called, right? Everyone calls it Indy.
And wasn't it like some ungodly number of people qualified for the Olympic trials? It was like 20 or 40 participants.
Yes, I did read that. Yes, it was a crazy day for Olympic qualifiers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, that's one of those things where like, if you're out there for 2.5 hours or less, and it's really cold, that's very different from being out there for many, many hours. And so you are an enormous badass for getting through that. Not only that, you ran Baltimore like 3 weeks ago. And we just think you're amazing. If you feel like it, get in the Facebook group, tell us more about it. We'd love to hear about it. But I'm sorry you had a lousy day. I just want you to know that we think you're awesome and we're really proud of you.
Because here's the perspective. It's called, if you go through my old posts and just search for the word perfect, I use it so rarely that this post I'm pretty sure does pop up. But last year at the New York City Marathon, it was a perfect day. Perfect day, perfect. Like they described the weather's perfect all week long. And it was indeed perfect on race day. And everyone was expecting really big, amazing things to happen. Shalane had won the year before, but not because conditions were perfect. But I mean, frankly, there are a lot of things had to fall into place for that to happen and for her to lose to Mary Cain. At the same time, the next year, people were like, Americans, what could possibly happen? It's a perfect day. So when you hear that, it's easy to think, well, if it's not my best day ever, then I suck or I missed an opportunity. And that is just not true. When you are an elite, when you're a professional, when you're doing everything right, when you cannot deviate from the plan no matter what, you might never be rewarded with a perfect day that could be a showcase for all your talent. You might never get the top end of your potential or the outer rind of your orange. And that still did not happen for a couple of professionals that day. So if there's some part of you that's like, it was a perfect day and all this great stuff happened, but it wasn't a great day for me, that means I double, super, triple suck. That is the wrong way to look at it. Please don't. I'm sorry your day wasn't terrific. But you remember, I got elbowed real hard in the tummy with some dude crossing the street in the New York City Marathon. Sometimes when things just suck, you have to be able to just separate from the suckage from what that has to do with you. So if I had like my finish time or my feel or my performance or like it was going amazing, it had nothing to do with me, and be like, you know what? I can live with this because it's not me. And if you find some way to make this about yourself, just stop. Not everything is in control or your fault if you didn't have the day you wanted. I am really, really sorry. What I'm more concerned about is that we find a way to sort of move through this so that you can get back into a habit of finding ways that connect with running that make you feel good. Because races, frankly, they're nice to do every once in a while, but unless you're doing them with friends and you have perspective on what you're doing, they're never going to feel good.
Yeah, truly. Okay. So tell us more about it if you feel like it, if you get a chance. We're thinking about you. You're awesome. First question. I'm looking forward.
You run races in your spare time for fun. This is your hobby. Everything you do is badass. By being a hobby jogger, you're not less than. And if you have a hard day, that tells me nothing. That tells me nothing about you or your potential.
All right. I'm gonna get into the questions. We have so many questions. Oh
my God.
I'm looking forward to the holiday strength challenge. If we're planning on 3 days of the fair, is slow burn a good life choice, or will it be too much action with not enough recovery before the ultra ramp?
Do it. I say do it. It'll get you nice and ready for the ultra ramp. Yeah. Because the ultra ramp, mind you, is not going to be as rough as people think it is. I've not had anyone, I think maybe one person reached out and said maybe 100 miles, but probably not. Everyone else has said 50K or 50 miles. And frankly, we can get you ready for that in about 4 months with not a whole lot of stress, because at less than that, because you're here now doing this now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm really not that worried about it. The ultra ramp, if you guys heard what I had the unicorns doing last year, the unicorns' lives sucked. Like their life was terrible, but that's because they went from trail back to road ultra in a 4-month period. They were doing things that you will not have to do. So just don't run Rocky Raccoon 50 miler in February and you'll be fine come May. Right,
personally, I think I can do that. That sounds really doable to me. Not run Rocky Raccoon. Check. Okay. So yes, if other people are wondering about that, slow burn is absolutely a great life choice. If you think that your situation might be special, or you're the 100-mile person and you're still interested, reach out to us privately and we can talk about it. Okay. Loved the podcast about slow burn. It sounds like we need a track to be snow free or have access to a treadmill to take full advantage of this program. Is that right?
I would say so. Yes. It's not a must do, but some things are easier on the track and you're going to have to do, or on a treadmill, and you're going to have to do some unfamiliar things. So it's all centered around 8K pace, which is obviously a little bit faster than 10K pace, but slower than 5K, effort. So 8K effort and is between 10K effort and 5K effort. So that being a little unfamiliar and a little weird for people, you might find it easier to control things on a track or a treadmill, which kind of makes it perfect for the in-between cycle, whether you live in Florida and need to run before the sun comes up in the wintertime, or you live in, upstate New York and you can be indoors on it, and you're going to have to be indoors on a treadmill. So that was what I was going for, but work with whatever you've got. We have some people who had access to neither throughout slow burn and had a great time.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I'm getting ready to start week 8 of the Tenacious Marathon plan, and I'm planning to run an EAT. What should I do the following day? Do I follow the plan as written?
It depends on get what you need to get. The EAT is really hard and psychologically it trips a lot of people out. The most important thing I would say is go back and listen to the podcast we did about the EAT, download the materials that go with it, do good runner math, and remember, get all you need to get out of this is what I want you to get, which is a solid enough idea of your current fitness level to know it's possible in the race so that you don't overdo it. So that is, if keep everything in perspective, including asking, what do I need to get the next day? And this might be the hardest you run throughout the cycle. So if the EAT, it was not designed to take a lot out of you, but if you find that it does, do not hesitate to take the next day off. But either way, you definitely don't want to do a hard workout the next day. You would really want to keep it to like 30 minutes easy effort. But if you don't have even that, that's okay too. That does not make you less than. It does not make you weak or a wimp. It means nothing about you. Don't assign meaning to it or more value to that or to you. Ask yourself, what do I need to get, and get it. And the only moral value comes from someone shaming you out of getting something you need if that thing is rest.
Yep. Totally agree. Okay. I'm running Philly and I expect it will take 7+ hours to finish. Is it reasonable to think I'll be recovered and ready to start slow burn in January?
Yeah.
Okay. That was also my reaction. Just very, very straightforward. Yes. So yay. So excited. I was so thrilled to see how many questions there were about slow burn because I cannot wait to do slow burn in January. Woohoo.
I bet we'll see what you're saying in February.
I know. Well aware of that. Is it normal that it's hard to find easy effort pace first or second time out after a race, or is something else likely to plan for my off pace or higher heart rate?
Are you asking because of you, or are you judging my Strava?
I have not. Did you run? Did you run today?
Yeah, I ran today and I ran.
Is there Strava to judge? I have not judged your Strava.
I'm just saying, I went out and I was like, I missed running. I didn't get to run the week before the marathon because we had all the snow. I was ready to run and I'm like, I'm just going to go. My husband's home. No one's paying attention to me. I'm going to go do my little 2-mile recovery loop. I'll be right back. Yeah, I ran it too fast. And it's not the end of the world. My heart rate was way too high. And my coach saw that and immediately goes and puts in runs for me and it's like aerobic, heart rate cap. I'm like, thanks, Tia. So yes, did I break a rule? I didn't do the smartest thing. You'll notice I didn't run the next day. And you'll notice when I went today, I was a lot slower and I was a lot more control. But the one run I'd had in the past 2 weeks was a marathon. I just need to go shake it out a little bit. So if you're judging me, don't. But if you did what I did, cool.
Yeah. My heart rate, if it makes you feel better, is all over the place. So after my marathon this fall, I did not run for a week. And then every run the following week, my heart rate was definitely higher than what I would have expected. That was when I was running with you in Atlanta, MK. The first couple of runs we did. Yeah. I was like, I'm trying to slow down. I know that this is like my easy pace, but it's not. No, it's not working for me.
But that's a good thing, right? I'm trying to slow down. Yeah. That's where you want to be. And my coach says that to me all the time. Like almost all of my training logs every day was like, I tried to hold back. And she's like, that's good. That's what we're here for. Knowing you have more and knowing and feeling secure in knowing when to use it. It's not about, I need to go harder. It's like, I don't need to go harder. I don't need to go harder. And that's the way you need to look at it. And that's how I would encourage everyone to look at it too. So yeah, your heart rate's going to be elevated for a while. Your sleeping might be off. You might find yourself hungrier or not hungry at all. Your hormones are going to be all over the place while your body tries to repair the damage that you did to it during the race and during the race effort. It doesn't mean that you don't ever need to race again. It just means you need to take what you did and the toll it took on your body quite seriously. Appreciate the work leading up and appreciate your body saying, yeah, we did this. Can I rest now? But it doesn't mean like you need to be perfectly sedentary until your heart rate comes back down. That could take a month.
Yep. So just give yourself grace. Don't worry about it. You're good. You're doing the right things.
Yeah. And this is why we call it Final Note on this is a recovery month. And like, I wasn't able to record my call with Tia. She was like, not today, please. I don't have good internet. But she was very quick to emphasize to me, it's a recovery month. And she meant exactly that. Your heart rate is going to be a lot higher and your paces will probably be a little bit slower. Don't read into it. You're not losing fitness. We are recovering. And if we don't recover properly, we will never gain fitness.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. Thank you, Coach Tia. Yay. All right. Next question. Looking forward to strength this January. Yay. January is my preference, but I'm flexible. And I'm just making sure I understand. When we enter the 8-week strength session, do we still pay the $30 to maintain the monthly fee too, or will our subscription pick up automatically when we are finished?
We want you, we don't have sophisticated systems yet. So that was priced as a one-time purchase. That will be separate too, and you're going to have to maintain your subscription throughout. So yeah, if I had intended for you guys to drop the subscription, that would have been complicated, and then I would have lost y'all, and that's the opposite of what I want to do. So get that it sounds a little pricey at $125 on top of the subscription, but we're putting a lot into it. It is a really intricate program, and we know you're going to get a lot out of it. And then the final note there too is that, the only coupon that we're going to be running for this, and this is part of what went into with the pricing. If you participate in the Holiday Strength Challenge, which will be priced at $45, we will apply all of that towards, and this is $45 charity donation to Play University or to the Blue Bench. We'll have all the details out very soon. But you make that donation, you forward the receipt to us, and we will apply that towards the purchase price of Slow Burn. So if you make that donation, you'll only pay us $80 instead of $125 on top of the subscription. And also because I know life gets in the way and things get messy. And after you do this, you're like, well, I can't start in January that you wanted to. Fine. We're going to be offering Slow Burn 3, possibly 4 times over the next 12 months. And you can pick up any of the subsequent sessions whenever life settles down. I don't have so many clients. I can't keep track of you guys right now. We have like 175 paid members at the moment. So with that number, I will make sure that you pay only half of your purchasing price, meaning you'll pay me $40 if life gets in the way and you can't continue the first cycle. If when you come back and you're like, life has settled down, I'm ready to like lock in and do it now, it'll only be $40.
All right, cool.
This is a one-time thing. It's gone after Christmas.
Yeah. So get in there, everybody.
If you think there's a chance you might want to do it, definitely do the Holiday Strength Challenge.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because that's like one-time thing, and that is only this holiday season. And again, like MK said, no coupons after that. So this question actually continues. That was part 1. I'm glad we addressed that. Moving on. I love Maintain so much. Yay! I am also pumped for the planning session in December, since I am not quite sure what I want to do this fall if I don't get into New York. My brother may or is probably moving to Cali, so I was thinking the California International Marathon. I was also looking at Rebel Big Bear, which is through the national forests and looks pretty in November. My main goal is not much different than last year. Number 1, get to the start line healthy. Number 2, feel good and negative split, or at least have something to finish strong with a smile on my face. And last but not least, have fun. And if all the variables line up, a great day. Thanks for loving me.
Yay! I live to love you. There are lots of good races in California. Depending on what you like, there's one called Avenue of the Giants, and I think that's in April, and everyone loves this race but me. It's a beautiful place to be, but it's a double out and back, which is the literal definition of hell, right behind the Route 66 marathon, where you can see the turnaround point from the start and the finish line from the turnaround point.
Oh God.
And the flattest land possible. It's like a horror movie to me. No offense to anyone who lives down there. It's just like, of all the marathons you can do, you do this one to talk about how terrible it is. And if ever you question this whole the flat fast concept falls apart beyond the 10K distance, go run Route 66. You'll see it's true. So to that end, I don't think I answered your question. But I didn't hear a question. There are lots of good races in California. You have all kinds of options. I can't wait to talk to you guys about the year ahead planning sessions. They're going to be on December the 6th. You should have seen an RSVP link in the newsletter that went out from me yesterday in the Tether. go check it out. If not, go to fitnessprotection.com/events and you'll see the link to RSVP. You're going to need a password to get into the session. It's going to be a Zoom webinar. It will be recorded and it will be shared. If there are enough people who can't make it, we may hold a second one. But I don't want to overcommit my time since I'm not charging for this. But we're also going to do more of these throughout the year. I'm right now, I'm tentatively thinking we'll offer them once a quarter because life never goes according to plan. It's not about having like the perfect plan and towing the line. It's about having enough flexibility in the plan to be able to pivot when life gets in the way. So if we say like, I'm going to go for Avenue of the Giants, and then you're like, actually, I went there and visited and it's terrible and it's nowhere near him. Mind changed. We can do that with no time wasted, and because training is never wasted.
Yep. More on that on December 6th. We are looking forward to it. We will put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Hi, Stephanie Lopez. I miss you.
Oh, hi. Yay. I miss you too. As weather gets colder and my roads and paths get less reliable, it looks like the treadmill will be my new best friend soon. Yay. What tips do you have for treadmill running? I have heard that running at an incline of 1 is best to simulate running outdoors. Or is it better to vary the incline to get some variety for my legs? Also, when I'm running outdoors, my easy effort pace varies slightly throughout the run based on hills, etc. Would you suggest just setting the treadmill at my easy effort pace and forgetting it and not adjusting based on heart rate throughout? Thank you.
If it's just a one-off run on a treadmill or the occasional run on a treadmill, I'm like, do whatever you need to do to get through that run and don't worry about it. That's kind of rule number 1 of the treadmill. Rule number 2 is to just like kind of totally embrace it. If you're the sort of person who does not like the treadmill, I do not like being in gyms. And I can say this now, I really don't like being in gyms because I feel like I'm being preyed on by the personal trainers. I'm trying really hard not to make eye contact with the people who come near me. It's worse than being that girl alone in a bar. I would rather be alone in a bar than in a gym most days. And I don't go to bars. So I say that lovingly. Do whatever it is you need to do to get through that. Be as occupied as you need to be. If you're going to be there for a long time, have your TV shows ready to go. Have your podcast queued up. Because I'm more worried about you not being able to mentally get through that hour, or that you're going to be like, well, my iPod isn't charged and I have no way to listen to my podcast. So you show up and day after day, you're not doing the workout because you need more tools to make a treadmill work than you do an outdoor run. One. Okay. So with that aside, once you're there and you're running, I kind of don't care what you do. As long as you are doing the work, then you're not losing fitness. Is it the same as running outdoors? No, but you know what? If it's icy and snowy outside, then you're doing exactly what you need to do. When it comes to like the specificity of what you need, unless you have a race coming up, if you're in the final stretch of training for sim, for example, because sim is coming up the first weekend of December, then, we would need to stay a little bit more consistent because treadmill running is technically different and it's not specific to running you're not going to be running sim on a treadmill. So to that end, for pretty much everyone else, I'm like, do whatever you need to get through the run and don't worry about it. Yes, it is true. If you're going to be indoors on a treadmill for a prolonged period of time, I would prefer you keep the incline at 1% because then it does not feel flat and you will not get an artificial sense of faster that will mentally set you back when you're outdoors again. You're like, I was so much faster on the treadmill. And then so you've been pouting because you're not doing what you want to do. But when you do what you want to do, you're slower than you were on the treadmill and now you feel bad, right? I'm more worried about mentally queuing you up for the rest of the year than I am about what you could potentially be losing on the treadmill. And if that's varying it, cool. Just don't anything over 4%. You can't drive a car up that. You did that. Anything was steeper than 4% is incredibly rare in a road race and a road marathon. So there's no benefit to going steeper. If you want to fluctuate, I would fluctuate between 1% and 2.5%, and that is totally good.
All right, cool. Next question. Yes. So we have a lot of cold weather questions tonight. Hello, coaches. It's already become pretty cold in Minnesota. I'm wondering if you have recommendations for cold running gear, pants, base layer jackets. My goal for the winter is to get out as much as I can. I'm grateful to have a treadmill, but I'm hoping to stay on the road as much as possible. Thanks.
Yay. I've got an old post about this. I'll go back and pull it out and pull it on the blog. You guys have heard me tell the story about we moved to Colorado and I was a little embarrassed. I couldn't remember the word for balaclava. So I Googled mask with mouth hole and now I'm convinced I'm on an FBI watch list of some sort. And Google definitely thinks I'm a pervert and nothing that you put on the internet ever goes away because I swear to God, there's some things I look for. I looked for the Care Bear stare to find a picture. I did not know that what Google showed me, I'm convinced is based off the algorithm of looking for mask with mouth hole. Jesus Christ, I'm scarred. But that aside, 2 things that you really do not need to Google ever are right there. So I Googled this so you wouldn't have to, is what I called the post. If it's not already up on coachesworld.com/blog.
That's amazing.
It was terrible. Like this is going to be following me till the day I die. I'm going to like there's just no erasing it from. I can erase it from my history so my husband doesn't see it, but Google knows I did it and has tailored my preferences accordingly. I have called them multiple times and spoken to friends I'm working at the company to be like, help me get rid of this, and they're like, it doesn't work that way. Anyway, so careful what you Google. It never leaves. So I do have a list of cold weather gear that I don't hate and stuff that I do like, and I will be happy to share to share that. But there are too many pieces that I could get into here. As always, the links that I share are not affiliate links. I might get there at some point, but right now, I just rather tell you what I like without worrying about what you asking the question. Is this really what she likes, or is this what's going to hand her the biggest commission?
Yeah, seriously. That's always like a worry that I have whenever someone is making recommendations based on stuff that they, are paid to advertise in some way. So,
oh yeah, but I mean,
I appreciate that about us. Yeah.
But it's not just that, like in magazines, it's also like brokers. When we were looking for a house, they're always trying to show us a house much bigger than what we could afford. And I'm like, I know this is your commission, but this is money out of our account. Like, no. So when there's commission on the table, there's always an incentive in play that is not in your best interest. And at some point I might go there, but it's going to be a long time. We ain't there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a time when I would post pictures of my running gear the night before. I had like 3 piles of layers that I was going to put on for my run the next day. When I used to do the daily posts in the groups a couple of years ago, and I loved seeing people's like piles of all of their stuff for their winter run. So if you want like a slightly more generic answer to your question, because I don't really have specific stuff that I like as much as MK does, and I'll be looking forward to MK's. I just wear like hella layers because I have a lot of race shirts that are long sleeve. I like a pair of tights with my long underwear over the tights because they're a little looser. Just that extra layer of insulation is nice. On the really cold days, I wear liner gloves and then mittens over them. It's all whatever you can layer and then kind of adjust as you go. I think that's a good strategy because like, being able to adjust as you go is good. And then as you run more through the winter, you'll learn like, when it's 20 degrees, I need this many layers. When it's 15 degrees, I need this many layers. And when it's 30 degrees, I'm going in my short sleeves and I'll be so happy.
I know the thing that I've gotten the most mileage out of that I never expected was my rain jacket. I bought a rain jacket during a really rainy day when I was training in 2010 in New York City for the marathon. The first time I officially ran it, I was really like put out that it would just been raining for days and days and days. And I'm like, well, I got to get a run jacket because I'm not getting my rain done. I'm not getting my runs done. And I bought this $80 rain jacket that I was like, I've never needed one before. I will never need this again. And it's become my indisposable piece of my winter running gear because the old rain jackets were not breathable at all. They trapped all the heat against your body. So it's like I could run in that in a t-shirt and be just fine. So, but anyway, there's a lot to say about the layering that you can do and how to put it together. We'll put together a post that speaks to it and maybe even a PDF. Who knows? Kara's not busy.
Someday. Okay. Well, I'm
kidding. I'm kidding.
Someday. I love it. Okay. We have a couple questions about half marathons. I have a half marathon I have a half marathon on Thanksgiving morning. That's why we can't go to the in-laws. Shh. Oh my God, I love that. Perfect. How should I rearrange the workouts that week for a race on Thanksgiving? Planning to just jog it with a bunch of friends.
I'm just saying, kind of who cares? Like you just outmaneuvered your whole family at Thanksgiving. Let's take a minute to celebrate that. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. As far as the week goes, like generally speaking, I put up my generic race week. You've seen it before, the 1x1, 30, like for 60 minutes and 30 minute easy effort on Tuesday. Wednesday is like the 40-minute 1x1 breakdown and then Thursday off. So I would just kind of do that. But if you really want to blow the doors off this race, then go blow the doors off this race. But you're running with friends. It doesn't sound like you want to. If you don't want to blow the doors off, and since you're not going to be wasting energy at your in-laws, you want to be like awake and sane and sentient to sort of enjoy the rest of the day, then do the 1x1 on Monday, 30 minutes easy effort on Tuesday, Wednesday off, race it and do your thing, but not too hard on Thursday. Or option 2, run for 2 hours on Monday, 90 minutes on Tuesday, 2 hours on Wednesday, and then show up to the race and then be like, I'm so tired after that race. There's no way I could go anywhere else. So do whatever you do. You arrange your week. Don't worry about the race performance. Worry about like what you need to get out of the rest of the day. And that's how I would tail your week with that in mind.
Yeah.
Because if you're one of those people, by the way, we put this out, no one has responded yet. I need to hear more. If you're one of those people, and I'm guessing maybe people don't Black Friday shop anymore. I am fascinated with Black Friday. I don't understand this. I come from a tiny town that did not have any shopping to do on Black Friday because we did not have big box stores. I lived that far in the country. I did not understand Black Friday shopping was a thing until I went to college, and that I still didn't get it because I didn't see it. I saw it for the first time in 2007 and was like, what is this? Oh my God, as I proceeded to stand in the cold with someone for 2 hours for something that was totally not really discounted at all. So I say that if you are a Black Friday shopper and still in this day and age when you could do it from your computer and get free shipping, where do you go and what is it you need to buy? And is the deal that good on Black Friday? If you are a Black Friday shopper and you're super excited about that, please explain it to me. I kind of don't care about the why, but I'm fascinated with the reasons. I have ideas about embedding this into the Holiday Strength Challenge. It's not too late to pivot there. So if you're a Black Friday shopper, educate me and Coach Sarah on Black Friday so that
Please.
we can, if it's something we need to prepare you for in the Strength Challenge, we can do so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We still have like 4 questions. So
Okay.
could you please explain the difference between tapering for a marathon and tapering for a half marathon? And how important is it to taper before a half marathon? And should you taper the long runs before a half or not? Thanks.
All we're trying to do is get your legs fresh. And generally speaking, there are lots of different ways you can go about it. What I recommend for most people is for a half marathon, you're good with a week taper. Like, just don't do anything too crazy hard 2 weeks before. It takes 2 weeks for the benefits of a hard workout to present. So anything you do in those 2 weeks before any race is more likely to hurt you than help you. And that is one of the things that we do. We try to find the pace. We're not trying to increase our fitness for race day. We just go into conservation mode. How much of a taper do you need? Physiologically, 10 days is good. My elites have really short, tiny, severe tapers, and they are between 10 and 7 days. The way I tapered recently for the New York City Marathon was forced on me by Mother Nature because I literally could not get out of my house due to the snow. It was much more of a taper, much more severe than I'd ever had, but boy, my legs were fresh when I showed up in New York City. So when it comes to the difference between a full marathon and a half marathon when it comes to the taper, it's just about the power needs, because you're going to need a little bit more power to get through a half marathon than you are an actual, a full distance marathon. And I hate that because a half marathon is a full race, but it's a different kind of race and it's a different kind of hard. So we need to back off the intensity way sooner in a half marathon, but we're not even going near that type of intensity in marathon preparation. So comparing the two, it really is kind of apples and oranges. But at the end of the day, they're all 2 weeks long. And that's why it's how they shift that really matters.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so first, yay, regarding the New York City Marathon. That was quite a journey to get there. I'm contemplating training for the Atlanta Marathon in early March using your training plan. My only other marathon was about 2 years ago, Big Sur, and I finished in 5.5 hours. Which plan should I use? And any other tips? One of the reasons I'm thinking about it is because I feel strong as a runner thanks to the plans. Last month I did a 10K and my time was so much better than I expected, and I still had energy at the end. Thanks so much.
Yay. That's really what it's all about. It's an energy conservation game. I'm in it for life. I'm in it for health. I'm in it for the long haul. That's why I try really hard to not put pressure on every single training cycle, because if I'm going to be here till I'm 80, I can't burn out when I'm 42. So when it comes to the race, if you're running the marathon, I'm never against marathons, but we need to ask ourselves, what do I need to get out of this? Because if running in Atlanta, there's never, as we learned, I don't think there's ever a good time to run in Atlanta. No offense to Atlanta. It is really hot. It's really humid. And we don't need to make your life any harder than it needs to be. So when you're running in a place that is hot and humid, it could, during training, it could be hot and humid on race day. So making sure that we aren't really driving ourselves crazy over the holidays is the first thing. So let's think about, what do we need to get out of this and what's realistically likely to happen, only because I want to cue you up for maximum success and not maximum disappointment. That said, is it possible to be faster than Big Sur? Absolutely. If you've been consistent since then. Big Sur is a really hard race, and most people are going to be 15 to 20 minutes more slower at Big Sur than they are at other races, because there's just so many things that course throws at you. My course report will be coming up on that pretty soon. It's a brutal, brutal, brutal course, much more so than people recognize. But to that end, when it comes to which one, so we offer 3, all the marathon plans are free, and we offer 3 flavors, as I like to think of them. One is Tenacious AF, and that is for anyone who's running their first race or has no reason to believe that they would be faster than 6 hours. Then we have Dedicated AF, which is everyone who thinks I'm pretty sure I'll be faster than 6 hours, but there is no way I'll be faster than 4 hours. Okay. And the third is steady AF. And steady AF is for people who are like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to break 4 hours, period. And it's just different types of work with different sorts of skills that we assume you need to acquire in that training cycle. For example, the steady AF people probably don't need coaching, right? Because you got to be steady AF to break 4 hours in the race, period. Right. So what you don't need to have calls with me about like the course and strategy and whatnot, because you know how to be steady AF under any very different circumstances just by virtue of being there. The dedicated AF, it's just different. It's a little more work, different type of work and a different type of preparation than tenacious AF, because the people in tenacious AF get the most of my attention. And well, when we have opened up all the floodgates and have everything firing on all cylinders going forward. Remember, this is our first year. We did not have that many racers in our plans because we did not have that many runners and that did not have that many programs open in time to prepare for fall races. Going into 2020 is going to be a very different scenario with a very different set of options and different ways to interact with the coach when you need them. To that end, which one do you need? It's really about like what kind of work are you really willing to do? And again, I say this in all due respect. I'm a Southern girl. Don't forget, I'm from rural Tennessee. I hate Auburn, not specifically Atlanta. And that's only during football season. And because I have to, because my family's coming to my house too. Like we're balls and I can't say that I like Auburn or Georgia under any circumstances ever. So, when I say you're getting ready to race in Atlanta, I would be like, why would you want to do steady AF? I would worry about that. I would also say, don't work harder than you have to ever. That man behind me was right on the median when we graduated from Wharton. It was graded on a bell curve, and he was very proud that his GPA up to like 6 digits kept the top of the bell curve. He's like, I did not work any harder than anybody else, any harder than I had to. And that's exactly how I want you to think about your training going into the spring when the weather could be throwing so many wild cards at you. Either tenacious AF or dedicated AF, the outcome on race day, the preparation will not be that different. The outcome on race day won't be that different. It's the work and the input that is really the bigger factor. I think steady AF may take a little more out of you.
Yeah. Yeah. I cannot speak to that since I did dedicated AF and it was awesome.
My training cycle for New York, and I guess it's time to say that. I haven't said that yet, have I? My training cycle for New York looks a whole lot like tenacious AF.
Pretty cool. And no speed work, I'm told, just like Lindsey Hine in Boston.
I didn't even do strides.
Yeah.
I wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
So you can do plenty of things on just like aerobic preparation. There's a time and place for everything. My body was not ready for anything harder. My body could not handle other types of work. So that's when I say like you need to know what type of work you're willing to do. Don't game the plan based on the outcome. I didn't go into this like trying to get like a 4:16 marathon or to break 4 hours in the marathon. I was just meeting my body where it was at and asking like, what can I do? What do I want to do? And reconciling that every step of the way. And the plan that came out of that, what looks a whole lot like if you want to call it our 6+ hour marathon, fine. It looks the work I did for a 6 hour marathon. Was tenacious AF. I trained on that and ran a 4:16 in New York.
It's pretty cool. All right, we got one last big question and then one last amazing and small but mighty question. Okay, so I've been wanting to experiment with different fueling options for my long runs. I've always used goo in the past and I think it works just fine, but I've been wanting to try out different ideas. I'm wondering what real food options you might suggest and how in the world do runners really eat while running. I find myself needing to take a walk break in order to take my goo and water and then get going again. I've heard of PB&J, peanut butter pretzels, homemade rice balls. Have you tried any of those? Thank you.
I mean, not since I ran ultras. I really don't know how runners do it either. Everything that I this year, I had to start taking protein before my runs and after my runs. And it was, I mean, you weren't here for most of I thought I was going to vomit most of the time. I'm like, I'm waking up, like drinking part of a protein shake and then like lying back in bed being like, I don't want to run with this in my tummy. But there are a lot better options now than there have been before. That's partially a function of my age and partially a function of my rehabilitation and trying to rebuild all the muscle that I lost after 2 years in bed. But I tell you that to tell you this, I don't know. I've ran on real fuel. I needed real fuel when I was doing ultras a long time ago, but I was also young, stupid, and, not always sober. So, especially during a lot of those training runs. So nothing felt really hard because I was super stupid. So I can't really speak to that. All of those things that you suggested, yes, those are things I know people to eat in ultras, but not on long runs specifically. So I don't know. How about you, Sarah? I know a lot of people like the matcha bites for years. They like Lara bars.
Yeah, Lara bars. Lara bars are kind of those were my sweet spot. this past cycle, because I did used to make the matcha bites, but then honestly, the effort to make them was just like, I couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
I kept running out and then being like, I'm not going to make these now, but Lara bars are pretty much the same. So you recommended, MK, that I read Stacey Sims' book, Roar.
Yep.
It has some good suggestions in there. I have not been eating on my runs, but I have been trying to eat before my runs now. Also thanks to you. And I do not care for that drink that you drink, but I do think that it's helping. I think it's been interesting. It doesn't that taste good to me, but it doesn't make my stomach feel full. It's like I can drink stuff before a run and it doesn't bother me. Actually eating solid food before a run, I really don't like doing that. But I understand that it's a good idea, especially for women. Read Stacey Sims. I think it's worthwhile, and there are some practical ideas in there for like options that you can try while running and before.
I still don't really do food before or immediately after. I have to do the protein or the recommended amounts in liquid form. Because again, I've been doing this since I was 6 years old. I'm not going to be able to wake up and start eating a plate of eggs and then going for a run. It's just like making a change is something even I'm going to have to ease into. So when, as Susan's saying, RX bars are a good option. I don't know. I can't imagine. I like RX bars. I cannot imagine one before or after or on a run. But so yeah, Ascend is what I've started taking before my runs. But when anything more than that, Marten, Maurten, is the sports drink that Kiptiju is drinking during the 2-hour marathon. I know it is very popular right now. A lot of people have asked me about it. Be very, 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 very careful how you use it. It's not that it's dangerous. It's a lot of carbohydrate. It was designed for elites who don't have a lot of body fat to lose when they're out there, which means it might be too much carbohydrate for us. I've gained 4 pounds training on Marten, and then I read Stacey's in the book and was like, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong. And it's a little embarrassing to say that, but everyone's like, you got to try it. And I'm like, it's not to gain 4 pounds is a bad thing, but that's just that is how, running as much as I was running, eating normally, the only thing that was really changing during a period when, remember, my hormones were coming back into alignment, I was getting more stable. It was the 500 grams of protein I was consuming every day in the form of basically pectin, fruit sugar. So I didn't add it. There are always going to be trade-offs there. I still don't like eating before or after a run. I do it because I know it's something that I have to do. All of my nutrition guidance at the moment is coming from Roar, based off a bad experience I had with Marten that was recommended by a friend who I trust and now really hate. I'm just kidding. I don't hate it. But this is another fuel that was used on male elites, and I have to be like, I don't think this works. This isn't necessarily right for me as a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is a very individual thing. You got to try some stuff and try something. It sucks. Don't do it again. Try something else.
Yeah. Because I hate sugar. I can't do goo because I feel it in my mouth and I got to get it out of my mouth. And then I drink so much water trying to clean my mouth out that it's slushing in my belly and that doesn't work. So you will figure out what works for you. There are lots of options beyond the ones that you suggested.
And speaking of fuel, last question, Coach MK, did you get your donuts?
I did not.
What? Okay.
I did not have time. They did not have.
We have to have makeup donuts. We have to have makeup donuts some point in the near future. We got to live stream makeup donuts. We got to try out our simultaneous live streaming. And I think donuts have to be the way we do it. So
I'm really looking forward to the simultaneous live streaming we're going to be doing with the Pie Day. For Runner Interrupted, we've got lots of fun things going on this month. I'm going to be a little more present now that my marathon training is over and my time is a little more flexible. And we're going to be doing one of the live streams we're going to be seeing what takes longer. MK, who has 2 thumbs and I don't even know if they're opposable. I don't craft. It takes longer for me to craft a pie with my daughter with cardboard or than it would someone who's even less experienced at cooking than I am to try to follow the directions and make a pie. Oh my God. To the finish, it's a race. It's a live stream.
I crafted today with Roz. I was very proud of myself.
Why?
I got to check that off my training peaks because we needed something to do, man. We went outside for a walk for an hour and she refused to wear a coat. So she got really cold. So we had to come inside. We collected a lot of leaves and I bought a glue stick and we glued the leaves to cardboard. And that was my crafting.
Wow. Wow. That's
so
deep.
everyone be proud of me.
I'm proud of you. You survived.
Yeah. I did. I didn't think I was going to, but feel really good about myself. That was a step in parenting I had not taken yet.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I've never gotten used to this whole concept of craft being a verb. And I get that that's what some people do. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm saying I cannot. I am not a crafty type of person. I don't have depth perception. I don't have like great fine motor skills. And when it's like, oh wait, I've got to do what? Oh. So when my kid came home and had with this project, I was like, it would be more efficient to make a pie. I bet. And
Let's
where, like,
find out.
Let's find out. Yeah. So there's some of that's coming up in Runner Interrupted this month. I will keep you tethered, tied to the community, and entertained during these periods of not running, because you know what, it can, whatever the reason, that running more slowly than you want to run at any given moment is the hardest thing you'll ever do. Imagine how hard it is to stop. I'm here to get you through it because you were coached and loved and winning at life. Even if you have to craft.
Even if you have to craft, just think of me and my thumbs that barely work.
Again, we're not hating on it, just saying it's hard.
It's really hard. I have mad respect for people who are good at it because I'm really not. Sometimes I wish I were, but yeah. All right, everyone.
People get excited too, right? Like people are like, oh, I get to craft with my kid. I'm like, tell me about that.
Yeah, right. I'm always curious. I want to know. I want to know more. And I want to know if there is any hope for me at any point. And
no,
I don't know. I think above and beyond like gluing leaves that we found on the ground to cardboard, I think I may be a lost cause. But I cannot wait to watch MK craft a pie. That
it's going to be terrible. And I'm just warning everyone in advance. Like trying to give me tips to make it better is not going to be any more effective than like Salazar's coaching cues were for pretty much anyone at the Nike Oregon Project. Sometimes you just need to accept like the direction it's not going to be landing, find a different metric. And that's going to be me with the scissors. Go laugh. Like what? Hold it this way. There's nothing you can tell me that's going to make that stuff come naturally, but it might be fun to watch.
It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. But first, donuts. We're going to coordinate on donuts. We're going to live stream donuts. It's going to be great. Coach MK will get her donuts.
Yay!
We'll make sure of it. It's going to happen. Yeah.
Yay!
Whew. Hard work is done, but you know that the run doesn't end until you have a nice cool down and get on that foam roller.
We'll find it. Thank you for joining the live stream. If this wraps up all the questions, thank you for joining the section program. You are coached. You are loved. Go win it the week. And don't forget to check out the Shady Bitch lessons over on the Morning Mantra Micro Podcast, with tomorrow's lesson is how to deal with the fake cheerleading. Like, don't you let anybody tell you you're a bad mother because you don't craft with your child. Mm-hmm. What is that? It's like worse than a backhanded compliment. So far, we've taken apart like the backhanded compliment, different passive aggressive comments as they tend to come to get you ready for the holidays and having to spend time with family members because this is what they do. So I don't tolerate shame anywhere in my life. I went to charm school and knew how to deflect these comments politely and firmly, and I will share with you all my charm school lessons and over on the Morning Mantra Pod. Hopefully, if they get you through the week, then you are much more coached, loved, and winning in life than I sure was when I had to do this shit when I was 13.
Woo! Have a good one, everybody.